Hey man, this is Chilly Billy Howell. Yesterday I shared while I was paddling. I am, some people think I'm really into music, and I'm really not. I drive in the car usually without music. Occasionally I paddle just because I like the sounds of nature, but I always put a song to it afterwards. It just makes it more palatable for me to evaluate my stroke. Plus, you know, some people can go to concerts and big venues and listen to music all day. I just can't. I am so sensitive. One song can wear me out. And it's not because I'm deeper than other folks. I'm just, I guess, more fragile. So I have to be careful with my relationship with music. But I just dive into whatever I dive into. And I dove into Townes Van Zandt and his Pancho and Lefty the last few days. And I usually start with a title when I'm going to talk or share something, and then come up with the content. Most people come up with the content, and an editor or publisher does the title. But if I had to title something, it'd be Pancho, Lefty, and Malachi. And I'm a poor poet, a poor writer, but I write, so that makes me a poet and a writer, because I do it. Whether it's what folks would qualify as good is debatable. And but I'm finally figuring out that in writing I get stuff out of my head and heart, and then in sharing it I can put it to rest. So whatever that's worth. But it really dug into Pancho and Lefty lately by Townes Van Zandt. I mean, the alienation and complexity and brilliance of Townes Van Zandt's Pancho and Lefty. I mean, it leaves me feeling sad and lonely and empathetic, and it's just a poet's soul bared. And I was turned on to Townes Van Zandt when I lived out west, but I didn't dig it because I didn't understand it. And I probably didn't understand him because I hadn't been beat up and scarred enough to understand him. And he was a Texas troubadour, brilliant, introspective, troubled, and Pancho and Lefty said just came to him. He didn't really understand it, nor can we, but we can feel it. And I have a lot of empathy for Townes now that I've really dug into his life. He and I suffered a lot of the same addictions, a lot of the same just internal mental conundrums, but he went through a lot of electric therapy, shock therapy, that really should make anybody empathetic to what became of him. But he still was brilliant in how he bared his soul. And there are many types of literary criticism, and it's just literary criticism is how we analyze and interpret literature. And I really engaged the song Pancho and Lefty, which is a classic, from what you would call reader response perspective, an Arthur Bile perspective, and maybe a mythological critique perspective. That's just kind of how it makes me feel, even if I don't fully understand it. And again, he didn't fully understand it. I resemble somewhat his tortured soul. The difference is he and I both delved into alcohol and drugs and everything else to try to feel normal or deal with whatever ailed us. The difference is it got him, and thankfully I've had a late life redemption and now have hope that maybe he just couldn't get hold of. But anyway, and I'm ready to put this to rest. I've been digging into it, and it has really kind of depressed me. But so now I'm ready to move on to more healing and hope. But, you know, Pancho and Lefty is a myth, and my now nom de plume I write under, Malachi Montroy, is mythological. And myths can sometimes interpret life in ways that help us to understand reality, yet they are just that. They're a myth. G.K. Chesterton, who I love, wrote a lot about myths. And he said a myth is a work of the imagination, and therefore it's a work of art. It needs a poet to criticize it. And he states that the poet feels in Chesterton, it's like on the water, I feel the beauty of being on the water, even if I don't understand everything about it clinically or scientifically. But mythology is just really a search. And I don't expect many, if any, people to fully understand the particulars and universals with my wrestling with wisdom at the crossroads that through the aphorisms and poems I've written in the book we're about to publish. But I am compelled to share them regardless of the reception. Townes Van Zandt's just unavoidable yet ably expressed, melancholy kind of crawls across my cerise scars like a reptile's belly on silk. And it really does. It just, his music, his poems, the way he articulates them, it resonates with who I was, but not who I want to be. And Pancho and Lefty are kind of avatars of my past life out west and now my life east of west. But Townes' poet's soul stirs me. But I just don't want to be left in the darkness where he lived. Even though I live there, I no longer want to live there. I want to live in the freedom God gives and to do my best to live correctly and rightly and in a way that's pleasing to him and pleasing to others if it's pleasing to him. And I am a fallen creature like Townes, but I understand much of his affectation and tortured soul. I just don't have his gifting, yet I emote. So anyway, maybe I can put this to rest and get on to more positive things. Cheers. Y'all have a good day.